Hello beadlings, welcome back. So I'm super excited for this month's announcements, but if you do want to skip them and go straight to the tutorial, timestamp is right here. For those of you who stuck around because you remember last month when I said I was really excited about things, I can finally tell you about them. So first up, if you didn't see, last month I did, or I guess technically this month, but like the beginning of January, I did a shop update, and as part of that update, I released Squishmallow Purses. I have a couple that I'm like currently working on for the next update, and I want to show you. So this is one like good example of a Squishmallow purse. She's like a little shoulder bag. Oh, she's not going to fit over my candy. There you go. She's a little shoulder bag, right? There we go. And then you just unzip her head and see, little pocket in there. So I've been doing this with like a bunch of Squishmallows, and the other one that I have is a backpack. I figured out how to make backpacks like last night. Look at him, he's got a bow tie. Anyway, his entire head unzips, see? And he's got two straps. So yeah, I'm stoked about this. Now that I know how to make backpacks, I think I'm going to start making some like bigger sizes as well. All of the info about like the next shop update and what Squishmallows I'm working on and information about like potentially opening up customs for that, it's all over on my Instagram. So if you're interested in stuff like that, go ahead, follow me over there for like the latest updates. It's hard to do like real-time updates on YouTube. So that's one thing that I'm super stoked about. Okay, the next thing that I'm super excited about is we finally have merch. I literally went to my P.O. box earlier today and I picked up the first like sample batches of this merch. So I'm going to open them on camera. I don't know what this looks like. I know what I designed, but I don't know how the print run came out. If it came out good, if I'm happy with it, then we're going to do a merch drop, and we'll do a merch drop probably like end of January, beginning of February. I'll like cut in here and put the exact details when I know when the drop will be. If I hate it, then you'll know that real quick because I'm opening them on camera, and then we'll push it out a little bit. But merch is almost here. Oh my god. Okay. Yee! So exciting. Opening this with like full Kandi regalia on is slightly tricky, but I'm gonna make it work. Oh my god. So this one's a hoodie. This is pretty neat. So this is the extra large hoodie. I'm going to try this on later, but I wear an extra large, and this definitely looks like it's going to be big on me, so I'm pretty happy about that sizing. I do really like that. Let's see, I have one more box. As you can see, I was doing my makeup earlier, and I used this box to clean my brushes. Probably not what you're supposed to do, but that's okay. Again, extra large is very large. I think this is unisex sizing. But look at that. It's me. It's my logo. Right on the titty. So I'm waiting for the rest of the samples to come. I have a couple of other designs that are coming. Assuming that those are all good, we will be doing a merch drop at the end of the month. And if they're not, I'll let you know. So clearly, a couple more shirts did show up. There's this one that I'm wearing that's just a bigger version of the logo. And then I've been saying this for like a year now, but it is, I think, the truest thing I've ever said. I feel very strongly about this. And there's one final design. I have the black and white print of it. That's the sample that I got. There is a color version of this as well that is still like in the mail to me. I am so proud of this design. I cannot even tell you. My partner and I designed it fully, and I think it's super, super cute. So I cannot wait to get the color version of this. Anyway, I really hope that you are excited about the merch, as excited as I am. I hope you liked it, and back to past me with the tutorial. So on that note, merch, supporting the channel, Patreon. You all know I have a Patreon. I talk about it every single video. If you want to support the channel, go support me over there. I super appreciate everyone who already is. However, there is something that I just found out about Patreon, because I'm fairly new on there, which is that you can set goals. So like once you hit a certain number of subscribers, or once you hit a certain dollar amount every month, then you have to like do something for your patrons. So what I have set is that once I hit $500 a month in Patreon, I am going to make a YouTube video that goes over in detail everything that I've learned about starting an Etsy and how to start up and run a small business. The reason that I set that goal at $500 a month is because I anticipate this video taking quite a bit of effort. I'm gonna fully script it. I plan to talk to a couple of different people who are like business professionals, you know, my tax guy, the whole thing, just so that I make sure I'm giving as much accurate information and useful information as I possibly can. And it is something that people have been asking me pretty consistently to make for over a year now. And I haven't had the time to do it. I haven't had the energy to do it. I haven't had the resources to do it. So hitting that goal would give me the breathing room that I need to actually, you know, invest that amount of time and energy into a video like that. So if that is something that you want to see and that's something you want to help contribute towards getting onto the internet, you can go subscribe to my Patreon and help me, you know, get towards that goal. It is a video that I do really want to make. It's just something I haven't had the time or energy to do. So that is also something that I'm currently working on. So that was a lot of exciting announcements. I hope you're as excited about them as I am. Regardless, I know that a lot of you have been waiting for this tutorial, so let's get on with it. Okay, so before we talk about supplies, I do want to show you a couple things real quick. I like to use faceted beads, which is what these are. You can see that they have facets on them, because I think that it gives like a cleaner rainbow. This is an example of a 5-color rainbow. And this is an example of a 3-color rainbow, right? And you can see they all sit very evenly, like exactly where I put them. Specifically on the clouds, I think that they sit a lot nicer. You can use regular pony beads. This is an example of a rainbow I made using regular pony beads. I think that it is more difficult if you just use regular pony beads. It is absolutely not impossible. As you can see, I have made one, and if all you have are regular pony beads, you absolutely can use this tutorial. It works exactly the same way. I will just warn you now, it is trickier, and I think it does not come out quite as cleanly in the end. You can also use round beads. So like this is an example of a 5-color rainbow I made using round beads, and it's super, super cute. This one, the holes in the beads are very small. I don't know if you can see. They're significantly smaller than on the faceted beads, and so you can't use a needle with it. You have to do it all by hand. It is a super pain, but it does look really cool. And then there's other shapes of beads, but a good rule of thumb is if it's, you know, roundish or mostly round type of shape, it will probably work for this tutorial. With that in mind, I'm first going to show you how to make a 3-color rainbow, and then I will show you how to make a 5-color rainbow. It uses basically the same technique, so most of the tutorial will be on this one, and then at the end I will show you what I do differently to make it a 5-color rainbow. So what you're going to need for supplies, scissors and string, obviously. You do need some kind of stretchy string. I have not attempted this with a non-stretchy string, and I have found that 1mm cloth covered stretch cord works the best. The string, like as you can see, right, the string is going to show through all of those gaps. So keep that in mind with what color of string that you use. You want it to go along with your overall color scheme. Or like what I'm doing, I'm using white string because I don't really want the string to stand out. You can get this on Amazon. You can also get it from Bead Tin. Plastic yarn needle. You can get these off Amazon. You can get these at any craft store. And 4 different colors of bead. This is for the clouds, and these 3 are for the rainbow. And like I mentioned earlier, I prefer to use faceted pony beads, which you can get off of beadtin.com. Or you can absolutely use regular 9mm pony beads that you can get at any craft store. First thing you're going to do, you're going to cut off a lot of string. This is, I would say, like 7 feet of string. I honestly don't know exactly how much string you need, simply because I always measure by wingspan. Like, I just spread my arms apart holding the string and then do like another little bit after that, and that seems to be about enough. And I can't exactly like measure the string after I've used it to make a rainbow. So I'm going to say 7 feet should be enough. We'll go from there. Take 4 beads, add them to your string. Then you're going to tie off your string so that your beads are sitting in like a little box, like, boop, see, very tightly. And I'm going to tie that off with a triple knot. And then cut off the short end. Now I'm going to take my plastic yarn needle and attach it to the long end. I just do a double knot. That way it's not super hard to come undone if I want to untie it at the end, or I can always just cut the knot. So that's 1 and 2. So it's pretty secure, just like that. And you can see this is how it sits once you've tied that knot. You're going to take your string and run it through the next bead over. And I'm always going to be going to the right with this stitch, with this motion. It's always going to be like, you'll see what I mean, but you'll be going to the right. So coming out the right hand side of this bead here, I'm going to add 3 beads, also white, 1, 2, 3, because this is part of my cloud. And then I'm going to go in the left side of the bead like that. And you want to pull that tight. So you can see it's sitting a little crooked because my finger is there, but you've got a second little box. So this first square is the bottom part of the cloud. This second square, we're gonna push upright so that it's sitting at an angle in kind of an L shape. We're gonna take our string, which is coming out of the right hand side of that bead, and go to the right into the next bead over. On this bead, we're gonna add 2 beads. 1, 2, 2 beads, and then so we've got this bead here, which is, we've just added these 4. It is the right arm of the one we just added. We're going to go down through that right arm and then also back through the bead that we're coming out of. And pull it tight. It is important to keep pulling this shit tight. Whoops. It is important to keep pulling this stuff tight so that it sits how you want it to sit, right? So now we've got, this is the first, little side that we added. This is the second side that we added. We're coming out of the right hand side of this bottom bead, and once more we're going to go to the right, and we're going to repeat that exact same thing we just did. Add 2 beads and go in that right arm of the square we've just added. 1, 2, down through that right arm and over through the bottom bead. Okay, so now we've got 3 sides. We've got 1, 2, 3, and we're on the last one, so we're going to go through that bottom bead. And for this last side here, because we already have most of this side, we've got these 2. We're just going to go up through that arm. I'm calling it an arm because I don't know, it looks like an arm to me. And then we're just going to add one bead and go back down through the other arm. And then through that bottom bead. So now you should have what looks kind of like a little cube, right? You're coming out of the right-hand side of this bottom bead. Whoop. And there we go. And you can see every side has like string circling through it to hold these beads all together, except for the top. There's no string holding these two beads together. So we're going to string up through that right arm right here and over to the right. So now we've moved our string from the bottom row to the top row, and we're going to run through all the top beads one time. So we're coming out of this bead here and always moving to the right. Go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's just to give it some structure and make it hold its little cubey shape. So now we've got a clear cube. That motion of adding those 4 sides, that is the same motion you're going to repeat. You're just going to change the colors. So now we're coming out of the right-hand side of this top bead here, and we're going to add our 3 colors. So we'll do blue, yellow, red, because that's approximately the order we want them in, and into the left side of this bead that the string is coming out of the right side of. Just like that. Pull it tight. And so now it is standing straight up. We'll move over to the right and go into this next bead over on the right. And we're going to match this color scheme. So we're going to match it to the blue. So this side is all going to be blue, and this side is all going to be red, and the opposite side of this is going to match this. So I'm going to add 2 blue beads, 1, 2, and I'm going to go down through the blue bead and over through the white bead or the clear bead and pull it tight. So now we've got one side that is 3 colors. We've got one side that is all blue. It's coming out of this bottom clear bead, and I'm going to move over to the right and come out of the next bead over. Now I want this side, because this is directly opposite our first side, I want it to match red, yellow, blue. This is the blue, so I'm going to add 2 beads, and I'm going to do red, yellow, and then through the blue. I find it easier to flip this upside down while I'm working. You don't have to, obviously, but I keep rotating it just for ease of access. So down through the blue and then over through the clear, always moving our string to the right. Pull it tight so it stands up and move it over to the right through this clear bead here and up through the red. And we can see we're going to add 1 more red bead here because this is the red side. One red bead, and then down through the other red bead and over to the right. So now we've got this first layer of our rainbow done, and we need to move up to the next layer. So we'll go up through the right arm of the red, and then move over to the right through the yellow. And we'll repeat all of that again. So I'm going to show you one more time on camera, because I know this stitch is called cubic right angle weave, and if you don't have any experience with right angle weave or with cubic right angle weave, this is I have found to be very different than other types of Kandi stitches, and it does take some practice to get used to. So once you've got that first layer down, you can just repeat what you've got below you. So this layer here goes red, yellow, blue. So I know that I'm going to add the same thing. Oops, I know I'm going to replicate that for the next layer. And because the string is going to circle around like that, I want to do blue, yellow, red. So blue, yellow, red, just like that. So it matches. And through the yellow. So we've got that second layer on there, and then we'll move over to the right, keeping our string tight, through that blue. So now we're on the blue side. We're going to add 2 more blue and then go through these 2 beads. Keeping our string tight. Blue, blue, just like that. There we go. So now we've got our blue side done. We'll go over to the right through the yellow. We'll add 2 beads, so we'll do red, yellow, and then through the blue and the yellow. And then last one, we'll move over to the right, go through the red, and because it's our last side, we'll go through the red to the right and then up through this red, add 1 red, and then back down. So this is all, the string is always just making circles. You can do this to the left. It really doesn't matter. It's called right angle weave, so I go to the right, but it doesn't matter which way you make your circles, really. Okay, and 1 red, and down and over. There we go. And we just repeat that over and over. The way that you can count, like keep track of how many layers you've done, is either pick the middle beads or pick the side beads and just count how many of each color you have. So right now we've done 2 layers because it's 1, 2, or 1, 2. I have found that 7 layers of color works best for me, but you truly can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And I think a larger rainbow would probably look really neat, but I'm going to show you how to do it with 7 layers. So once again, we're done with that layer. We go up and we go over to the right. So we're coming out of that yellow bead. Perfect. So you repeat this until you are ready to add the clouds again. And you want to go until, like, I'm going to make this 7 layers of color long. So I'm going to stop at 6. I'm going to make 1, 2, so I'm going to make 3 more of these full color layers, right? And then I will show you how to add the other side of the clouds. but I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me make another like 6 layers of this. So make until you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along the side, and I will see you back here. All right, so we're back. We have 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to add the last row of color and start on the clouds. So, and this doesn't have to be the 7th row. This is just at whatever point you're ready to end the rainbow and start the clouds. We're going to add 1 blue and then 1 white and then 1 red. So the top row is going to be all white. So we'll go blue, white, red, like that. Whoops. And string it through the yellow. We're doing the same motions, we're just changing up the colors. Like that. Over to the right, through the blue. And we're going to add 1 blue and 1 white. Down through those 2 blue. And we move over to the right. And now we're going to add 1 red and 1 white. Oop. Down through the blue and the yellow. And over to the right. And we're just going to add 1 white bead. And there we go. I know I've not explicitly stated this, but if it helps, when you are building this, your rows are always going to go, the first one you're going to add 3 beads, then you'll add 2, 2, and 1. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the right. We are now into adding the last cloud, so we're going to add 3 white beads. I know I keep saying white, it's clear, whatever, you know what I mean. And boop. Over to the right. And we'll add 2 white beads. 1, 2. Oop. Okay. Coming out of the right-hand side there. Go down through that arm and over. And pull it tight, and then go over to the right. This is the same motion that I showed you earlier. Nothing has changed except for the color of the beads. We're adding 2. And go down through that arm, over to the right. And last one here, over to the right, and then up through the arm. And we're going to add 1 last bead. And down, over. And back up. Now we're going to close it off by going up, so you're through that top bead, and once again we're going to string it through all of them just to keep that cloud from splitting apart, keep everything secure. Perfect. Awesome. So now I'm going to add the little 3D bits on my clouds to make them look more cloudy. Like you can see they're a little bit fatter than the rainbow itself. So we're gonna add those 3D bits. And this is how I do it. This is not like the only way to do it, I'm sure. This is just the way that has worked best for me. So currently we are coming out of the right-hand side of a top bead. We're going to add 1 bead, and then on the bottom bead, just below, we'll go in the left-hand side, like that. And pull that tight, which makes the bead sit just like that. Now we'll go over to the next bead over on the right, on the bottom there. And we're going to repeat that, but going backwards. So it's coming out of the bottom bead going right. We will add a bead and go in the left-hand side of this top bead right above it, just like that. And pull it tight. Now we'll go over to the right. Same thing, coming out of the top bead going right, so we'll add a bead and go into the bottom bead through the left-hand side, still going right. And then once more, last side, bottom bead going right, add a bead, and go in the left-hand side of the top bead. Perfect. There we go. So now we've added our decoration to that cloud, or we've added our 3D-ness to that cloud. We want the red to be the top of the rainbow, the blue to be the bottom of the rainbow, at least for this rainbow. You can do backwards rainbows. I don't care. It's up to you. We're going to take our string and we're going to go down through the middle of this bead right here. Whoop. And you can see this bead right here sits right on top of the blue beads. And we're actually just going to go through this whole row of blue beads, just like that. There we go. And we'll go up through that middle of that one as well, because why not? Because we can. And then we'll go to the right. Almost went to the left there. Almost threw everything off. We'll go to the right through that top bead here. Blink. And now we will pull the whole thing tight. Look at that. Isn't that neat? I'm going to do that again, just so you can see really well. So you've got it strung through all that, and you just, whoop, and you just pull it tight. So that's what puts our curve in. We're going to do the same on the other side, but first we're going to add the 3D parts to this cloud. And when we're done adding the 3D parts, we will string back through on this side of the blue. So exact same thing. We're coming out of the top bead here, going right. We'll add a bead and go in the bottom. Going into the left side, coming out of the right side. And then we'll move over. Next bottom bead over to the right. Add a bead. Up through the top. Move over to the next bead over on the right. Add a bead. And go through the bottom. This is the bottom bead. And last one. We move over to the right here. Add one bead and coming out the top. There we go. Perfect. So now this is a little trickier because we need to get the string into this bead here. So I'm going to string down through this bead and then over to the left through this bead. because that looks like the quickest path that will get me where I need to go. And then we'll just string through all of these beads here. Perfect. And then we'll pull it tight. I'm actually going to do that again so you can see. And pull it tight. And that forces it into position. So now you've got your rainbow and you just have to tie it off. I use a triple knot, just like with everything. And I also have about 2 feet of string left over. So potentially 5 feet of string would work. I am just now realizing. All right, I'm gonna tie it to that string there. And if you want a more in detail or in-depth video about tying knots, I did recently post a video that just shows close up how I tie all of my knots, because sometimes, like with this, I think it's a little hard to see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, perfect. And we'll just cut off the long end. There we go. And that is how you make a 3-color 3D candy rainbow. Now I will show you how I make the 5-color. I'm not going to make a whole 5-color. I'm just going to show you the color pattern that I use to make these ones as opposed to these ones, because like these, you've got this side has 3 colors, this side has 1 color, this side has 3 colors, this side has 1 color. It's a little bit different for these ones. So give me a sec. I'm going to get into the middle of one and then show you how I do the color pattern. All right, so I'm going to see if I can show you. The difference is on this, you've got one side red, orange, yellow, right? And then the next side goes yellow, green, blue. And then the next side also goes blue, green, yellow. And then the final side goes yellow, orange, red. So you've got like this central color of red, and then off of red, you've got orange, yellow. And then off of yellow, you've got green, blue, right? Green, blue. Off of blue, you've got green, yellow. I know I'm not explaining this super well. I am going to show you here with this in a second. I wanted to go over this a little bit first. So here we are, coming out of the right-hand side of this. We'll go yellow, orange, red. Just like that. And over to the right. Then, moving over to the next one, we're going to do blue, green, which connects to the yellow. So we'll add 1 blue and 1 green, and then go down through the yellow. See that? So we've got this side is red, orange, yellow. The next side is yellow, green, blue. And then we're going to come back because we're only doing 5 colors. So over to the right, and blue connects to green and then yellow. So we'll add 1 yellow and 1 green. There we go. And we're going down through the blue and the clear. Blink. Okay, there we go. So we've just added green, yellow, and we go over to the right. And we're going to add the last one, so up through the red. And what connects red and yellow? It is orange. So what you end up having is, this is the first one that we started with. This is the second one. This is the third one. And this is the fourth one. So this is going to end up being the top of the rainbow with red, and then orange and yellow hinges off of that. And this will end up being the bottom with blue, with green and yellow hinging off of that. The rest of the construction is entirely the same. You match what's below. So the next thing we would do is we'd go up and do, you know, yellow, orange, red, etc., etc. And then the only other difference is that when you finish it, when you connect it, you can see I only ran the string through one row of blue at the bottom and connected it there. So it's pointy, it's a little bit more pointy instead of being flat like this. So you just don't do that final step where you connect the other side. You just leave it like that. So that's how you do a 5-color rainbow. And yeah, so that is all the technique that I know on how to make these rainbows. The stitch itself is called cubic right angle weave, and I hope this helped. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and if you do end up making a candy rainbow from this, make sure you tag me on Instagram. I love seeing what you all make. I really appreciate you all following me this far. You see this in a lot of like YouTuber content and like online influencer things. People say this all the time, but I really mean it. I never expected to get this far with online content creation. I started making candy, you know, during the pandemic and right before the pandemic for mental health reasons. And then candy took over my brain and spilled out onto the internet, and you all liked it, and you keep liking it, and you keep enjoying it, and I am so grateful and lucky to have so many amazing people who enjoy watching the like goofy little candy videos that I put out. And I see when you make stuff, I see when you tag me, I see the messages that you send me on Instagram and TikTok and that I get in my P.O. box, and I cannot express enough how much it means to know that I am part of this amazing community, and I love you all dearly, whether you are a patron or not, whether you buy my stuff or not, whether you know, however you interact with me. If you enjoy my content, then I enjoy you, and thank you for being here. Do let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in future tutorials and future videos. If you would like voting rights to determine which tutorial comes next, that can be found over in my Patreon. Patrons do get to vote on that every month. So yeah, now it's a little bonus, a little extra. Super extra big thank you if you are already a patron, if you are already supporting me over on Patreon. I appreciate you and I love you. Claire. Thank you so much, especially to Mick and Jofi from my Patreon, and to everyone else listed here for helping to support the channel.